What's up, everyone? I'm the Kaiju no Kami here with...
Confused. Oh. No, truthfully, Cruellica and I. Hi, everyone!
And we just got home from NDK and now decide to watch Kamen Rider Revice Episode 1 and thought we'd give our thoughts on it. Which, as you pretty much guessed, were very...
confused.
Yeah. Can you believe it's been a year, though, since we watched Saber's first episode?
Well, I would say time flies when you're having fun, but I don't know. It wasn't like Saber was much fun. We only watched 2 episodes in the entirety of the series. To date. Okay. Obviously, you have to review it, but... So, do you want me to do a breakdown real quick?
Yeah, because I don't know what's going on.
So, first and foremost, just to start it off, this episode, I actually had to watch the first 5 minutes of the episode twice, because the first 5 minutes, the first time we watched it together...
It made no sense.
Well, it's not that it didn't make sense.
It's just, well, okay.
There was too much happening.
Too much information. That first 5 minutes felt like it should have just been the first episode or the first 2/3 of the episode alone.
Honestly, I think this could have been, for the first part of the episode, it could have been like for Kira Major an episode 0. Like something that they just posted online or did something outside of the norm, because we start by seeing a flashback to 50 years ago, where in South America, location unknown, they're doing an archaeological dig. So basically, they're putting together, it looks like they're trying to do that whole Mayan, Aztecian type of
But why
experience.
were all the people in South America Japanese?
That's not surprising. So if you don't know too much about history, during World War II, there were a number of Germans and Japanese soldiers that ran away. So not ran away, that's a terrible word. That escaped capture and went to South America. So actually in South America, in various countries in South America, as well as in Mexico itself, which is part of North America, there is actually some communities that have Asian blood in them.
Okay, whatever.
So it's not unheard of. So from like a cultural standpoint, it was interesting because if you understand World War II history, you know why this happened.
All I know is I actually wish it had been more than just like 30 seconds in 1971. I thought that part was kind of interesting.
I agree. It was nice to have this history, and then you see this, for lack of a better way of putting it, this stupid white dude who has what's called a V stamp, because that's what they're calling these stamps that they utilize in the series. He starts pressing it almost like Evil Dead-ish, where you have the man pressing the stamp where it's going to go into his skin, and then you see a demon burst out of him, because apparently...
So is that guy actually going to be is that guy the main villain leader?
I hope so,
That's trapped in the stone.
But the one fascinating thing about this is it's coming out at the right time, because obviously we're closer to Halloween than normal. And I understand this is when new Kamen Rider series typically start. But it's giving like a hereditary horror-ish feel to it, because the one thing it's saying is that every being has a demon inside. Obviously, that has always been a joke, that we have that little angel and that little demon sitting on their shoulders. But this time, we have a demon that is like us in a way. That's like our opposite version.
So, okay, well, so we got the scientists talking about, oh, we had an attack by these group called Deadmans that are raided of a factory, and I'm going to choose this guy to be our candidate, and then it cuts
But no, you're missing an important point. We also get introduced to our trio of villains named Aguilera, which is the girl. She is played by
Christina?
Yui Asakura. She is the reason I say that is because she has been part of a lot of different stuff. She is kind of interesting since she's been a voice actor for a while. Or she's enjoyed voice acting, I mean. But the reason why I mention that is because she has to play the fiancé for the head demon in charge. His name is Lord Gif.
Or is it Jif?
Gif, they said.
But it's with a G, so it could be Jif.
They said Gif.
Well, GIF is spelled GIF, but people still pronounce it Jif.
Okay, nevertheless, I'm going to say Gif. Because that's how I pronounce it.
Well, that's how I heard them actually pronounce the name. I'm just saying because everyone likes to go, oh, Jif. Well, if it's Jif, it wouldn't be spelled with a G, it'd be spelled with a J. And
the two other characters that we have of the trio of villains, one is dressed like a luchador with the very big sombrero. That his name is Julio.
A luchador is a wrestler with the mask.
Okay, not a luchador. Oh God, the movie. We have it. Mariachi.
El Mariachi?
El Mariachi he was dressed as. And then our third villain, his name is Olteca. And he is also dressed like a mariachi, but more subdued. So, I think the reason why they obviously take on the South American culture is because of where the V stamp was found. So what appears to happening is they're sacrificing people because they're, for lack of a better way of putting it, they're a devil-worshipping cult.
I wouldn't say they're a devil-worshipping
No,
cult.
that's what they're saying online.
Okay.
That they're calling them a demon-worshipping organization. I am going to go with devil-worshipping only because they're talking about them being like the inner devil.
Although all it looked like to me were just a bunch of emo ravers.
And so Master Gif is a mummy that was found within the ruins. The company that is creating all of this science for the Revice is called Phoenix with an F.
All I know is now I'm just thinking of Phoenix from Gears of War.
Mm-hmm.
But we had way too much introduced.
And this is all just the first 5. We haven't even gotten to the rest of the episode. This is just the first 5 minutes.
Actually, this is technically the first 3 minutes because the 2:44-minute mark is when we get introduced to our Iki.
So we have then after we get told by one of the scientists that the person who's supposed to become Kamen Rider Revice, his name is Igarashi Daiji. And then we skip to seeing somebody cleaning up in a bathhouse, and then it says eldest son Iki, or Igarashi Iki. And so you can see that he's a fan of soccer because he does a lot of the soccer moves, and he seems to be committed to that organizational stereotype that's very known in soccer. Then you get introduced little by little to the mom, who runs the bathhouse along with her son. The father, who seems to be a YouTuber, for lack of a better way of putting it, because he's always trying to make videos on everything, and apparently what he was introduced on was trying to see if he can beat the Guinness Book of World Record for how many jump ropes that can be done, and apparently the standard is like over 10,000, and he got 2.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
And apparently his wife, trying to cheer him on and be supportive, is like, that's close. And Iki is like, no, it's not. Iki then goes through a situation.
In the meantime, Iki's hearing this weird voice in his head at the start.
Who sounds extremely extra. We'll get into the whole voice actors later. We'll just stick with what we have. So then he freaks out. And obviously
because
slapstick chaos ensues.
Yeah, he served gave a dude a drink, and then he hears a voice saying, "Oh, you're giving him sugar on purpose when you shouldn't have sugar." And then all of a sudden he sees the creature, freaks out.
Well, the way they reacted, I actually thought was kind of Looney Tunes-ish. So they both see each other. Obviously, one is kind of translucent, and the other one is normal.
I'm not yawning because the episode is boring. I'm yawning because we're tired from the convention.
But anyways, so we see them standing next to each other. They look at each other, look forward. Iki is doing something like this. Then you have the demon, devil, whatever you want to call him. Like, huh. Then they both look at each other and flip out. Now, the one thing that you can't notice unless you're actually looking, because it's very subtle, is you can actually see almost like a genie's tail connecting the demon to Iki. So it's actually like literally a part of him. Well, so now we're at the 7-minute mark because obviously the chaos ensues. He looks foolish. We move on. Then we see Daiji actually come home. And apparently Daiji is being made as a captain in Phoenix for the anti-dead man squad. And he's a rookie. So they make clear that he is brand new within this military service, so to speak. And he apparently, or assumptively, has excelled to the point that as a rookie has been able to eclipse his peers. Well, Iki, being the brother that he is, which kind of feels like the older brother from Rube, in a way where he gives up his dreams.
All I've been thinking about this entire time you've been talking is Rube.
No, and Iki reminds me of the elder brother from Rube that gave up his dreams to stay home because in Rube, wasn't it baseball?
Mm-hmm.
He gave up his dreams for baseball to stay at home to help the family business while the younger brother in Rube got the opportunity to go to college and excel in his dreams there, where in this series, the younger brother Daiji is able to join Phoenix and become a captain at such a quick turnaround for the Dead Men, or for the anti-Dead Men group. And he gets to become Kamen Rider Revice. So we get to see that. We get to see like a family moment. We meet the younger sister, whose name is Yukumi, who is into martial arts. So you actually get to find out that the family is very active, that they have great structure, and they're very collected.
And then we go to the next day when Daiji is having his ceremony, and the villains attack. And the
villains attack. So here's my one frustration with modern tokusatsu in general. Actually, it's my frustration with all tokusatsu in general. You have a female villain. I'm happy that we have somebody who has a human form, because I know it's a complaint of yours.
Well, I'm happy that they're not evil Kamen Riders right now.
Well, I think my frustration is, why couldn't it be the female in costume and the two men be out of costume? Why did they have to come in costume and her be not transformed? Or if she's able to transform at all? For Julio and Oteka.
Well, yeah, she has a monster form.
Well, I imagine she does, but I was frustrated with that because I'm like, can't we have... I'm not trying to do this whole feminist perspective or anything like that, but it's the one flaw that I have with a lot of tokusatsu. It's like, give the female villain an opportunity to just go back and forth, just like the male villains do. And then, why have the male villains come in monster forms if they're inevitably going to
turn back to human form for no reason?
Well, exactly. It's like, it's not like they introduced themselves. The only reason I know their names is because I had to look it up online. Because not even when they were originally introduced, or not even here, the only member of the three villains that was given a name without having to look online is Aguilera. And the only reason she was given a name is because they clearly said, and here is GIFs, or gifts. Yeah, you screwed me up. Here is gifts intended Aguilera. That's the only reason we know her name.
Gifts intended. Yeah, I don't.
Which intended means his fiance.
So never heard that term before.
I have. It's a very classical term.
It's a very weird way to subtitle your episode.
Well, it's a very old school way of saying fiance. Because intended basically means that there has not been a formal, like, will you marry me type of thing. There was just a contract that was created by somebody else.
So, I do like the outfits of the villains. I did like how the one guy with the sombrero, his vest looks like a rib cage.
Yes. It actually reminded me of Coco.
That's all I thought of the entire time.
So I loved it because
I did like on Aguilera how the dress arms were flailing around when she moves around. Yes. I did like that. But
it looked like she was wearing a quinceañera outfit.
We have this big attack sequence.
Well, and the problem is, so
much is going on.
Well, and so you can see that they took they stamped one person to take a demon out.
And he couldn't control his demon, so the demon turns into a monster.
Well, no, this is before this.
Oh, you're talking when they did the mammoth?
Yes, they did the mammoth.
You're talking about the villains.
So they created the mammoth, and that was kind of interesting because it was nice to see how the villains create their monsters of the week. The question I have is, that hasn't been answered yet, is if a demon has been forcibly taken from that person, do they die when the demon dies?
Because they say that if a human dies, the demon dies.
So then one of the commanders for Phoenix, he sees everybody getting attacked. He goes to use the Revice.
Before that, though, during the ceremony, when the scientist guy just shows up out of nowhere, pushes the dude aside to introduce his rider belt, that was just like, what? Again, whiplash. Like, what?
Well, and that's the problem, because you have, like, these two younger men that are so important.
Just have some freaking pacing.
And
that's my biggest issue, is that I will say, I did not hate this like I did with Saber's first episode. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to give another few episodes. But the pacing was just so bad because there was no pacing.
Well, and that's really the problem, is everything is in your face, quick.
Again, maybe it's because we recently watched a Gito where things were built up slowly, that you didn't see a Gito until the last minute and a half of the episode.
But then again, we've watched other stuff.
I know.
Where we even got pacing there. And so I think the hardest part for me, and maybe if I think of it in regard to even Trigger, because Trigger is been out for a month and a half.
I was actually just about to bring up Trigger.
Trigger at least let you breathe a little bit. Good, bad, or otherwise.
The first episode still built things up for Trigger. It didn't just rush right into...
That's my thing. So, and we're now in about 12 minutes into the episode. We haven't even gotten to a transformation. So yes, you could say, well, the transformation came in 3/4 in the way. But the problem is, that first 2 acts have a lot of information that I still feel like if I didn't watch the episode a second time, I would not be able to understand it.
Too much exposition dump. That's all it was exposition dump after exposition dump.
So the one commander tries to transform. He does it. Apparently, he doesn't have a strong connection or bond with his demon. So his demon exits out of him and becomes another monster, which the villains are happy about. Daiji, who the doctor or scientist says, this is yours. Please do it. Daiji has a hesitation because obviously he just saw a leader of his attempt the same thing and fail. And then you see Ikki's family get attacked. And you see Ikki's mother get attacked and thrown across the room by one of the demons. And she has a lot of scratches on her arm. His demon is like, hey, if you use that stamp, you can free me and I can help save your family. Obviously, the rule of thumb, which is proven here, is you don't trust a demon. Because obviously, they're going to take advantage of it. So, obviously, when the demon comes out from separating from him, he actually goes to attack the mother because obviously she's an easy target because she's already on the ground. Well, the scientist is like, use the belt and use the stamp and you can save your family. So what happens from what we learn is when the rider, I'm just going to say that for easy access, any rider who utilizes it that has a bond with their demon of some sort, when they click the stamp, the demon comes back to them and actually comes into that stamp. Connects right back to the person. Then when you henshin, you actually get 2 riders for 1. You get Kamen Rider Revice.
No, you Kamen Rider
Revi and
then Vice.
So technically, his name is Kamen Rider Revi. The only reason we've been calling it Revice before is because obviously that's the title of the show and we didn't want to really spoil it at this point. Vice is the name of his demon. Another thing that we find out about the demons is they are not given names unless they're provided those names. So Vice is kind of excited about it. Now I want to ask you about the costumes or the rider suits. How did you feel about the color dynamic?
Oh, I think it's terrible.
So the color dynamic is a very pale pink, almost like a salmon pink, and
with a metallic. Oh God, salmon pink! Why am I the salmon pink ranger?
So you have like a salmon pinkish
Shines,
color,
man.
and then you have like this pale, like
metallic blue.
I would say it's like a light blue. It's a metallic blue, but it's a lighter blue. And admittedly, they work well together as a color combination. I'm not going to say... As colors, they do. As a rider suit, no. I don't know what it is, but I actually don't like the pale colors because all the coloring for both of their suits has more of a matte finish. So they're not shiny metallic. They're more of a matte. They look like something like... For example, this. This is a matte finish. I don't know if you can see it all that closely. Same thing with this. Basically, that means it's a flat color, and when you put it on, I know this is lipstick, it doesn't have a shine to it. And that's my problem with the costume. I don't mind the colors if they weren't on a Kamen Rider suit.
I don't like I think that's the problem, that the pink is just way too light.
It is. It's not vibrant, because even if you think of the pink in X-Aid's costume, that's a very vibrant and bright pink. And even if you're not a fan of pink, you can see it a mile away. Same thing with 01's suit. It is that yellowish green that's almost like that color that you see when it glows in the dark. It's bright, it's vibrant, it stands out. The problem for this is you have 2 colors that don't have anything to stand out against because they're so matte and so like subdued. You don't have anything to really kick it forward to make you think, oh, wow, this is a really cool design.
But yeah, so that was bad. I don't like the design for Vice.
And then for Revi, because they both have the same colors. So when Vice comes back, and Vice transforms into his riderish form as well. They both take on the same color scheme. It makes me wonder, though, how this is going to work, because in Kamen Rider, the main rider has multiple forms. With the way they have set up this narrative, there is no way he can have multiple forms.
Oh, he does.
I understand, but I'm saying the way they've set up the narrative, it should not be possible, because it's supposed to be one demon per one person. So does he collect demons? Is this going to be like other Rider series that he collects these things when they shouldn't technically be his? The fight choreography, it wasn't bad.
I liked some of the camera work.
I did like the dynamic of having two heroes simultaneously working together, especially when they were doing the final rider kick, because they came in like an X,
but
crossing each other.
I actually, beyond the camera work, I don't remember most of the fight because some of it was horribly done CGI.
Well, the CGI, so the problem I have with the CGI is the bottom half of Kamen Rider Revice suit
oh my god,
turned into like
T-Rex legs.
T-Rex legs. They look like ostrich legs entirely. But in the way because you could obviously see he had like a mocap suit for the bottom part of his body, because you could see him actually moving, like the top part of him moving the legs. But the legs CGI was so bad. But it was still better than Zenkaiger. I can't believe I'm saying that, but the CGI was still better than Zenkaiger.
Well, so then but then there was that one scene when he was like flying at the monster that looked like a PlayStation 4 game thing.
Yes.
And the fight, there's just, again, I think also a part of me by that point kind of checked out because I was so lost with everything that was going on. I was like, are we in another episode? Because I feel like we're in another episode at this point.
I really do think, as I agree with him, that this should have been a two-parter. If nothing else, it should have been an episode 0 and then letting the whole episode breathe.
I guess the only thing I am happy about is the fact that they didn't all introduce a second form in this episode.
Oh, no, but we got glimpses of who could be the second rider.
No, I don't mean second rider. I mean the next form that they're going to give him in the next episode. I'm glad we didn't actually see him do his secondary, the next form change in this episode already.
Well, the one thing that really kind of frustrated me is that Vice kept on breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
And I was like, are we trying to have Vice be like the Deadpool of the series? Because his mannerisms were like a very clean version of Deadpool. Because he was mocking what was going on, he was naming weapons, he was talking to the audience. Everything was very fourth wall breaking.
Yeah, I don't...
And if that's going to be the theme, then I don't have a problem with that. I don't mind fourth wall breaks if it happens.
The problem is, though, again, there's no tonal difference between this and Zenkaiger. I want Kamen Rider and Sentai to have two different tones to them.
Well, yes, because the one thing that I've always enjoyed with Kamen Rider, I would say up until probably Wizard. Yeah, I would say Wizard, because what was the series after Wizard?
Gaim.
Okay, maybe not. Maybe what? All right, shit. Gaim and then
Drive.
Okay, up until Gaim then, because Drive definitely started taking that tonal shift from what we watched. So
no, I would say, well, because I would say, well, ever since Denno, they took a tonal shift in Denno, but it wasn't as extreme until we got to...
I know what you're thinking, but we won't say it.
Somewhere in there.
But the problem is, because Gaim still had those serious elements. Wizard had those serious elements. So I kind of feel like a tonal shift really started happening, like, truly, once we got to Drive, and then on forward. 01 kind of took that step backwards, and yes, it had the silliness, but it didn't feel like it was Sentai.
Well, no, X8 seemed to be very, very silly just on the first episode we watched.
Build was very different on that. It seems like it's hit or miss. The concern I really have right now...
Saber was just...
Well, obviously we only watched 2 episodes of Saber, so we can only base our facts on that, or others' feedback.
You mean base our opinions?
Our opinions, yeah. Well, I feel like they're facts.
But
so... I just don't know how I feel about the fourth wall breaks. If that's how the character's going to be, then fine. I want a character that's consistent, but my concern overall is I kind of feel like this hero, at least based on the first episode, that Ikki is going to be, because he gives back the belt afterwards and says, no, I have to help the bathhouse. I kind of feel like it's going to be the elder brother from Rube, who was very hesitant at the start to become an Ultra.
That, and
I want a hero that wants to be a hero, because...
Well, I'm just bored of these super happy... I don't know.
Well, I think what you're bored of is that it feels like the characters are going to be very one note.
It's the same thing we've had the last several series over, I guess is the way to put it. I want something new with my main rider. I want some type of tragic story, something a bit more serious, something that makes me go, damn, I want to root for this guy to see him win. For this, it's just, okay, he's there because he's going to be doing it because his mom got hurt, and... At
least based on the next episode preview, he's doing it because his mom got hurt and said, you need to do this.
So
At least that's how I'm assuming based on how the clips came.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, and part of it could be because I'm tired of the convention. It's just...
Well, that's why I was surprised you wanted to do this tonight.
I was in the mood for it. I just don't know. Nothing is... I didn't hate this episode. But the pacing was just a mess all over the place. I couldn't follow half the episode. I started to check out during the second half of it. The fights just... The rider costume does not grip me. I still think the face looks like Kremzik. And... the fourth wall break is just like, oh, great. Yeah, because we don't have enough of that already. We don't have enough of that in other shows. Well,
and here's the one thing that, in looking at the costume art online, the blues that appear on the costume in the pictures look so much brighter. They don't look like a matte finish, and they look like they offset the salmon pinks very well. But, because if you look at it, it has this great shine to it.
Yeah, the pink looks a bit darker in that picture.
Well, that's exactly it. The pinks look darker. The blues have this metallic shine. They don't seem so matte and muted, where you're like, wow, okay. Because when I first saw the costumes, obviously I wasn't excited because of the stamp collection aspect, but the costumes didn't turn me off. On the show, though, they turned me off because it feels like they changed it for television a little bit. And...
Or it's because of the lighting.
It could be because of the lighting. And I think my biggest concern is, even here, it looks like even the pinks are so much more...
darker.
Vibrant and darker than what they appeared in the episode. And I want that for a character. And... the other thing I have to say, having watched other Kamen Rider series recently, and I'm not just referencing Agito, but we watched another Kamen Rider series where, yes, he had multiple upgrades, but it's not like he had a lot of different keys, so to speak, for transformations. And I feel like Wizard and Gaim, obviously, I love Gaim, so don't take this as a criticism, but I feel like for those two series, there were so many gimmicks. And once again, I love the gimmicks, but same thing with Drive. Drive has so many gimmicks, which I own a lot of them.
Well, every series, yeah, it's like every series since Gaim. Because even Wizard, even though he had 4 forms in Wizard initially, it still didn't go overboard. I feel like ever since Gaim, because of the success of Gaim, every series after has just been throwing in as many forms as they possibly can.
Because like this episode, he gets 2 stamps. He gets a stamp for transformation.
And then the weapon.
Yes, which
we didn't need that. It could have just been the whole melee battle with their fists, defeat the villain. Next episode, okay, here's a weapon for you.
So I will admit, before we watch the second episode, I would like him to rewatch the first episode again.
Well, if there's a different group also subbing it, I'll give it another shot because maybe a different translation will improve it. Maybe it'll make things feel that they're not poorly paced as they did with this version, because I have no idea who this group is that subbed this. I don't know who they are. So...
Well, I don't think it's that. In all honesty, the subs weren't a problem for me. But there were pacing...
there were some really bad lines in there. I was like, what the hell? Or how did they translate this? What the hell?
But the pacing was really bad. Now, is it so bad like what we had with Saber that I could say, no, I cannot do any more episodes?
No.
No. I actually feel like, unlike with Saber's first episode, I am willing to give it another shot and willing to try another episode or 2. Because as much as the characters are happy-go-lucky and in certain ways one-dimensional, I can honestly say, just like with Zenkaiger, for the regular actors that are not just strictly suit-based, you could see the effort. Oh my God, you could see the effort in everybody.
I don't. But then again, you've got the dad from Ninja in here, so... That just...
Now, for the controversy...
Let's not get into that this week.
Well, I was just going to say, the voice actor for it... I don't... As good or bad or otherwise, I actually have to say the voice actor for Vice...
I don't think it fits.
No. He's too silly.
He doesn't fit the voice of a demon.
Well, he has a deep voice. I'm not going to say that. He has a deep voice.
Let me put it this way. Because all I'm thinking of is this is a Onk's goofy cousin that nobody likes.
Well, yes. I was going to say something like Onk's voice, or even if you had to go with somebody that you didn't see an actual physical person for, oh God.
But yeah, I don't.
I'm trying to remember the series, but
I don't think the voice fits the character.
Even Seto Kaiba's voice actor would work here because you need that deep voice. But I think the problem is you need that evil sounding voice. But when you have a character that breaks the fourth wall, having that evil sounding voice doesn't work for a fourth wall break.
Vice just doesn't work for me, period, at this point. I
don't get the point of Vice outside of... Because if it was like a double element where they both combine together...
Speaking of double, when they showed in the preview for next week the T-Rex form of Vice and Revi combining, that CGI looked really bad too.
Yes. Now, I understood when we saw the trailer for it, we saw both of them, but I was kind of hoping, because obviously we didn't know what the story was, is that they would be like Double, where the demon would merge with the person, and it would just be one suit actor for the rider itself.
Yeah. Well, I knew that wasn't the case because I've seen more stuff on it, but...
Well, I hadn't, so I kind of hoped that was the case.
But
But admittedly, I could go on with my nitpicking and complaints.
I did like the designs of the villains, so I do like the concept of the villains.
In all honesty, I feel like I've gotten more development for the villains this episode than anybody else. And we got this much development.
Yeah. It does. There's that, and then it just feels like Ultraman Rube, Kamen Rider style.
Yeah,
right
I'm
now.
waiting for Noir Black Schwartz.
I am Kamen Rider Noir Black Schwartz. May the Schwartz be with you.
But in all honesty, we had, I feel like there was so many, I feel like there were so many references to Rube that I'm like, okay, I might as well just watch that again because...
Ugh, I don't want to watch that again.
No, but I'm just like...
I know what you're saying. I'm just saying I don't want to watch that again.
Because you had... The only thing that's different is the mom is here versus in Rube, she was in another dimension. But you have two brothers, a younger sister. The older brother gave up a dream. The younger brother is trying to fulfill his dream.
Well, as long as
as
long as the sister doesn't turn out to be just an imagination.
And then you have the mom, who is that strict disciplinarian, but she's definitely more centered than the father was. You had the father in Rube, just like here, have flights of fancy.
And apparently the scientist is a Kamen Rider fanboy.
No.
Which is just like Aizen.
In Rube. I'm not trying to compare it to Rube every day of the week, but I kind of feel like that's what I'm going to be doing. It's going to be a 50-episode version of Rube.
As long as we don't have a Saki.
Well, who knows? Aguilera could become like that.
I hope not. Anyway, what did you guys think of Kamen Rider Revice? We've been going on for, I think, about 45-ish minutes right now. Or maybe it's just that...
It feels like it's... But then again, it felt like the episode took about 45 minutes.
No, it felt like the episode went by in like 10 minutes, but not in a good kind of 10 minutes. But, no, it's 10:46, so... And we started recording at... Or at least I hit the button to record at 10:01. So I don't know how much time we spent before we actually started doing the actual recording itself. But yeah, what did you guys think of Revice's first episode? Let us know. Click like, subscribe, bell notification, whatever else YouTube needs you to click on. You can support us at Patreon Kaiju no Kami, Facebook Kaiju no Kami, Instagram Kaiju no Kami, Twitter Kaiju no Kami, my website Creativity by Design LLC.com. Until next time, sleepy time.
Bye!